The wind tore across the mountain ridge, biting through the soldier's uniform. He sank knee-deep into fresh snow, each step heavier than the last. His breaths came in sharp, visible bursts. A shadow moved ahead, swift, deliberate, before he could react. A gloved hand grabbed his arm, yanking him sideways. He stumbled into a dark wooden structure. Slammed against the floor. "Stay down," a low voice hissed. The soldier's heart slammed. He glanced up, her eyes tall, blue-skinned. Silver-haired glimmered in the dim lamplight. Something in her gaze was almost human. But not quite. Before he could speak, she vanished into the shadows. The door closed with a soft, decisive click, outside. The wind screamed, inside. Silence. 2 days earlier, Corporal Elias Kane had been on a solo reconnaissance patrol. A veteran of the frontier wars, he'd walked these mountains hundreds of times, but never alone. Never in a storm this relentless. His mission was simple: map the high passes and check for rogue activity. Snow covered everything, rocks, pines. Even the distant plateau seemed erased beneath a blinding white. Every footstep echoed, then vanished. That is when he saw it, a small wooden house, old and weathered. Sitting like a forgotten relic at the edge of the forest, smoke curled faintly from a chimney. He should have kept moving. He should have ignored it. But exhaustion and cold made logic brittle. He approached cautiously, rifle at the ready. The door was slightly ajar. A sudden shift in the snow caught his eye, then without warning, he felt the force of her strength pulling him inside. Her name was Clara. The house was warm. The air heavy with the scent of herbs and burning resin. Shadows stretched across rough wooden beams. It seemed abandoned until he saw the tiny signs. Alien gadgets tucked under counters. Small cages with strange glowing creatures. Clara's voice cut through his confusion. "Who are you?" "Corporal Kane," he managed. "I am patrolling." She did not lower her guard. Her eyes scanned him like a predator weighing prey. Suspicion sharp and unyielding. For hours he tried to explain. But words felt meaningless. Clara did not trust humans. Stories of invasion, of conquest, had painted her kind for decades. She had survived massacres, hiding refugees, scientists, diplomats, entire families from the human expansion. Kane noticed the subtle ways she moved. Every step was precise, deliberate. She was not just protecting herself, she was guarding her sanctuary. Days passed. He learned to move silently. To avoid startling her, they shared water. Simple meals of roots and preserved meat. Slowly, trust began to form, not in words, but in shared survival. She tested him. She left him alone near traps she had set in the snow. If he triggered them, she would retreat, watchful. Kane disarmed each one carefully, not for glory, but for necessity. He discovered a small room at the back, filled with holographic maps of star systems. Refugee settlements, patrol routes, hidden supply caches. Clara was not just a guardian, she was a strategist. And yet, in the quiet moments, when she thought he was not watching, she allowed herself a human softness, tracing her fingers over a locket, whispering names he could not understand. One evening, Kane finally spoke. "You are not alone here." Her eyes flicked toward him, unreadable. "You would not understand. I want to," he said simply. No bravado, no pleading, just truth for the first time. Clara hesitated. The storm had eased, leaving the mountains glittering under a pale sun. Kane spotted movement far off the ridge. Human soldiers, not a patrol, something different. Armed, organized, merciless. Clara stiffened. "They hunt us," she whispered. "They will not stop until we are gone. You should leave." But Kane could not. He had seen her sanctuary. He had seen the refugees who depended on her. Leaving meant death for them all. He sacrificed his rifle, leaving it hidden in the snow to lure the attackers off track. He improvised a plan using snow camouflage, traps, and debris. Every instinct from years of war guided him, but it was not brute force. It was patience, calculation, careful timing. The humans arrived. Confused by signs of movement in the snow, Cain drew them into a trap, causing an avalanche of snow and rocks that forced them to retreat. But not without cost. Kelara's sanctuary had suffered minor damage. One of her protective barriers was broken. She glared at him, not angry, not relieved, but cautious. Cain had risked everything, including her trust. For survival and protection, the attack was only the beginning. Rumors of rogue human factions hunting alien refugees spread fast. Kelara convened her council in the house's hidden basement. Refugees whispered fearfully, anxious eyes darting at every shadow. Cain's presence was controversial. Some of her people wanted him gone immediately. Fearing betrayal, others, more pragmatic, argued his help had saved them. Tension mounted as Kelara made her choice. She kept him close, but watched his every move. Nightly patrols became joint efforts. Cain learned their customs, silent hand signals, the subtle way they shared trust. The importance of observation over confrontation. One night, under the faint glow of auroras, the rogue human faction returned. This time, they were fewer, quieter, but more cunning. Cain and Kelara moved as one. Silent shadows in the snow, traps triggered, barriers reinforced. And Cain lured the humans into a narrow canyon where Kelara waited. Her power, subtle yet devastating, immobilized them. Cain's calm logic had guided her to the exact spot. Afterward, the humans fled. Some survived. Many would carry stories of the mountain that fought back. Without understanding why, Kelara faced her council. The refugees looked to her for guidance. Many expected a speech of defiance, a rallying cry. She said nothing. Cain stepped forward, not to command, not to boast. He quietly demonstrated the snow traps, the camouflage, the paths they could use to escape if needed. His methods were simple, his voice steady, his logic unshakable. The council watched in awe as their sanctuary's survival was explained not through power, but through patience, observation, and understanding. Kelara's eyes softened for the first time. She did not just see a human soldier, she saw a protector, an ally, a bridge between worlds. The storm had cleared completely. Snowflakes drifted lazily, untouched by wind. Cain stood outside the house, gazing at the mountains. His breath misting in the cold, Kelara approached silently. Her footsteps muted in the snow, without a word. She handed him a small emblem, a token of her people. A gesture of trust, respect, partnership. He accepted it. No words were needed. No promises were spoken aloud. She stepped back into the house, glancing at him once, eyes steady. Then she closed the door. Cain remained outside. Alone, but no longer lost. He had found purpose not in combat, but in understanding, protection, and quiet strength. The mountains were vast, the snow deep, but he was no longer just a soldier. He was a guardian, and somewhere inside that wooden house, Kelara's eyes followed him, knowing that together, they had created something worth fighting for.